betrayed. Broken, reborn. This is Novel Binge.
The bell that cried like a children, my first day leading the Demon Suppression Bureau. I executed a fox demon the capital's nobles begged me to spare. Only when the demon-suppressing bell rang with a child's cry did I realize they had never been protecting mercy. They were protecting the immortality, elixir they had swallowed. On my first day as head of the Demon Suppression Bureau, I knew something was wrong with the capital. A fox demon was bound on the execution platform. She wore the skin of a gifted young woman. Her features were delicate, her lips pale, and as she knelt there with her shoulders trembling, she looked almost pitiful. If she had not torn out the hearts of 3 maidservants the night before, I might have believed she was nothing more than an unfortunate girl. The space below the platform was packed. Minister of Rights Si Huayong had come in person. Several young scholars from the Hanlin Academy stood behind him. A few noble ladies, women who usually appear only at flower viewing banquets, had also arrived under veiled hats, their eyes red as if they were mourning a close relative. One of the scholars spoke first. Chief Shen. Although Finiang is of demonic origin, she has lived in the capital for 3 years without harming the innocent. There may be hidden circumstances behind last night's incident. I glanced down at the case file. 3 maidservants, chests torn open, hearts removed. Their bodies are still in the ice cellar at the morgue. The scholar choked on his own words. A noble woman immediately stepped forward. But she once saved my daughter at a poetry gathering. Demons have feelings too. Chief Shen, you have only just taken office. Why must you be so ruthless? I turned another page. The day she saved your daughter, a scullery maid vanished from your household. The noble woman's face changed. Si Huayong stroked his beard, his tone solemn. Chief Shen, the Demon Suppression Bureau exists to slay demons. Yes, but even in killing, there should be room for redemption. If a demon understands human nature and is willing to turn toward good, why can the court not grant it a path to survival? I looked up at him. What path to survival did the 3 maidservants receive? The crowd below the platform fell silent. Si Huayong frowned. They were pitiful, of course, but in the end, they were only servants. If we cut off a spiritual creature's chance at redemption for the sake of a few servants, that would be a failure to weigh what truly matters. At last, I understood. It was not that they believed the demon did not deserve to die. It was that they believed the people devoured by the demon were not noble enough to matter. Finiang knelt on the platform, weeping so naturally that she seemed almost human. She raised her head and looked at me with tear-bright eyes. Lord Shen, I know I was wrong. Those maidservants bullied and humiliated me, and in a moment of weakness, I lost control. Before she finished, I noticed a thin red line beneath the bone of her wrist. It looked like cinnabar. It also looked like blood. It was not an ordinary demonic mark. I stared at it for a moment and said nothing. Behind me, Ji Wuju rested his hand on the hilt of his blade and whispered, "Sir, if this drags on any longer, the people below will turn a demon into a bodhisattva." I closed the case file. According to the Great Sheng Demon Suppression Code, any demon who enters a human home, wears human skin, and devours human hearts shall be executed. Si Huayong's face darkened. Shen Zhao, have you thought this through? Today is your first day in office, and you want to offend half the upright officials in the capital. I asked, does Minister Shi count himself among those upright officials? He stared at me, coldly. I nodded. Then this so-called clear stream truly needs to be dredged. When the demon-slaying blade fell, Finiang finally stopped crying. The human skin on her face split apart, revealing a long, sharp fox snout beneath. A piercing scream tore from her throat. Several noble ladies stumbled backward in terror. The scholars who had just praised her talent and compassion turned as pale as paper. Si Huayong did not move. Only his gaze remained fixed on the fox demon's wrist bone. I saw it. So, after the execution, I did not order the demon corpse burned. I instructed Su Wenying, seal the demon bones, the human skin, and that section of wrist bone in a cold box. No one touches them without my order. Su Wenying was a recorder for the Demon Suppression Bureau. She was young, but steady. She glanced at me and replied, "Understood." Below the platform, someone called me a brutal official. Someone else said, the Demon Suppression Bureau had achieved nothing in 10 years, and its new chief only knew how to kill in order to establish authority. Others supported Si Huayong and whispered, "Minister, we cannot let him act lawlessly like this." I heard all of it. I did not explain. The Demon Suppression Bureau had been declining for 10 years. For the current Demon Suppression Bureau, explanations were useless. The blade was useful. Evidence was even more useful. At morning court the next day, Si Huayong impeached me exactly as expected. He called me tyrannical. He called me uncivilized. He said that Although the fox demon Finiang was guilty, she had shown remorse, and the Demon Suppression Bureau's public execution of her had damaged Great Sheng's reputation for benevolence and virtue. Standing in the hall and listening to him speak, I almost thought the ones who died the night before had not been 3 maidservants, but 3 weeds growing in front of his ancestral tomb. The Grand Master of Ceremonies stepped forward as well. Your Majesty, the increasing number of spiritual creatures in the capital may not be a calamity. Ancient texts say that when a nation's fortune flourishes, mountains and rivers gain spirit, and grass and trees become sentient. If the Demon Suppression Bureau slaughters them indiscriminately, it may harm the harmony of heaven. I glanced at him. As he spoke, a length of red string slipped from his sleeve, a fortune-praying red string from Xuandu Temple. Then the Imperial Preceptor, Pei Xuanheng, spoke. He sat beside the Imperial steps, dressed in white robes and a jade crown. His expression was gentle, almost merciful. He looked nothing like a man who would kill. The less a person looked capable of killing, the more careful one had to be. Pei Xuanheng's voice was not loud, yet it carried clearly through the hall. Demons have good and evil among them, just as humans do. Chief Shen has only just taken charge of the Demon Suppression Bureau, so I understand his desire to establish authority. But the power to slay demons is too heavy. Without restraint, it may one day turn back and harm the mortal world. After speaking, he even gave me a slight nod, like an extremely reasonable man. I met his gaze. I did not nod back. Emperor Sheng sat on the dragon throne and remained silent for a long time. After the former chief, Gi Yu Wenchuan, died, the Demon Suppression Bureau should have chosen its next head through joint recommendation by the 3 bureaus. But, a few days earlier, an urgent report from the northern border said demonic disasters had breached the pass, with repeated incidents in the capital as well. The Emperor had directly promoted me, a demon-slaying captain, from the Northern Guard, into the position. Many people were unconvinced. I knew it. The Emperor knew it too. That was why he would not immediately defend me. Sure enough, Emperor Sheng finally said, Shen Zhao, your servant is here. Within 3 days, present irrefutable evidence that the fox demon harmed humans, along with the grounds for punishment. If the evidence is insufficient, from now on, any demon execution by the Demon Suppression Bureau must first be reported to the Court of Imperial Sacrifices and the Imperial Preceptor's office for joint review. Smiles appeared on many faces in the hall. I smiled too. Emperor Sheng looked at me. What are you laughing at? I replied, your servant merely finds it amusing. Demons are not required to report to the Court of Imperial Sacrifices before devouring people, yet I must report before slaying them. The regulations are indeed thorough. The entire hall fell deathly silent. An Imperial censor immediately shouted, insolence. Emperor Sheng did not appear angry, he only looked at me. I lowered my head. Your servant accepts the decree. As I left the palace, Shi Huayang passed beside me. Chief Shen, it is good for a young man to have sharp edges, but if the edge is too sharp, it breaks easily. I said, Minister Shi, rest assured, my fate is sturdy. He sneered. Even the sturdiest fate can be cut short. I watched him walk away, and once again thought of the red mark on the fox demon's wrist. There was also a faint red shadow on Shi Huayang's wrist, where he had gripped his court tablet. It was very faint, so faint it looked like a smudge, brushed off by his sleeve. But in 7 years of slaying demons on the northern frontier, I had seen too many demon contracts etched into bone. That was not a smudge. That was something he had swallowed. The cold storage of the Demon Suppression Bureau was located in the backyard of the northern office. During Gi Wenchuan's time, it had sealed the corpses of great demons, as well as hundreds of human bones torn apart by demonic creatures. Now only 3 storage rooms still functioned. One corner of the eaves had broken, and rainwater seeped down through cracks in the wall. Su Wenyi placed the fox demon's bones on the examination table. She pried open the wrist bone with a silver needle and frowned. These are no ordinary demon markings. I asked, what do they look like? Elixir marks. Ji Wuji, standing nearby, looked utterly confused. Elixir marks. Demons take pills too. Su Wenying shook her head. It is not that the demon consumed the pill. It is more like someone infused the demon's bones with the pill's energy. Look at the red lines. They run along the seams of the bone, then break off near the chest. She scraped a little powder from the inner side of the human skin and dropped it into water. The water immediately turned a faint dark red. Ji Wuju's expression changed. I think I've seen something like this before, at the Duke of Angwo's manor. I looked at him. Ji Wuju said, a report came in this morning. Over the past half-month, 4 servants have gone missing from the Duke of Angwo's manor. The manor refuses to let us enter. They claim the ancestral well in the estate is blessed, and outsiders entering would disturb their family fortune. I asked, where is the person who reported it? One steward secretly slipped us a letter. No one has shown up in person. I withdrew the silver needle and stared at the faint red trace on its tip. A fox demon, crimson markings. the Well of Fortune, at the Duke of Angwo's residence. Interesting. The nobles of the capital were begging for demonic favors as if they were begging for their own lives. That evening, I led my men to the Duke of Angwo's mansion. The Duke of Angwo, Chin Song, was already waiting at the gate. He wore his usual python-patterned robe. Dozens of household guards and retainers stood behind him, along with several clansmen and relatives. He had put on an impressive show of force. From the way he acted, one might have thought I had come to dig up his ancestors' graves. Chin Song did not bother with politeness. Chief Shen, does the Demon Suppression Bureau now investigate cases inside the mansions of meritorious officials? I said. 4 servants have gone missing from your estate. Servants stealing money and fleeing is common enough. Did all 4 of them visit the ancestral well in the backyard before fleeing? Chin Song's gaze turned cold. The Chin family ancestral well bears a talisman, personally bestowed by the Empress Dowager. For 100 years, it has protected the unbroken lineage of my family. If your Demon Suppression Bureau dares trespass, that is an insult to the founding heroes. Ji Wuju let out a cold laugh. Lord Duke, if there is nothing suspicious in the well, what are you afraid of? An elderly lady of the Chin family was helped out. Trembling, she pointed at us. The Demon Suppression Bureau certainly has great authority now. First, you kill a talented spirit. Then you barge into the estate of a meritorious official. Are you planning to call me an old woman, a demon tomorrow? Behind her, a group of women began wailing. The courtyard filled with crying. I stood at the entrance and looked into the lantern-lit estate. The harder they tried to keep me out, the more I wanted to see that well, but not yet. The Emperor had just ordered me to produce evidence within 3 days. If I forced my way in now, Chin Song would only have to weep before the throne, and I might not even keep those 3 days. I glanced toward the well. A red string hung around its mouth, visible even from a distance. Xuandu Temple's red string. In the crevices of the stones near the well, a patch of moss was darker than the rest. I held out my hand to Ji Wuju. Blade. Ji Wuju thought I was about to make a move. His eyes brightened. I took his short knife, walked to the threshold, and under everyone's gaze, scraped away a small patch of green moss from the edge of a stone crack. Chin Song's expression shifted. Shen Jiao, what do you mean by this? I placed the moss into a cloth pouch. The Duke will not let me investigate the well, so I am investigating the moss. I looked at him. Does the moss also belong to the Chin family? Chin Song was rendered speechless. I turned and walked away. After taking a few steps, I looked back. Lord Duke, tell your household to sleep lightly over the next few days. His voice turned icy. Are you threatening me? No, I said. I am afraid the well is hungry. By the time I returned to the Demon Suppression Bureau, the night was already deep. Su Wenyi still had not extinguished her lamp. She examined the fox demon's wrist bone, the powder from the human skin, and the moss from the well's edge separately, in 3 porcelain bowls. The same thin red threads floated in the water, very thin, alive. Ji Wuju's scalp seemed to crawl. What exactly is this thing? Su Wenyi pulled out an old scroll. It was badly damaged, and Gu Wenchuan's personal seal marked the cover. She pointed to one line. 10 years ago, during the demonic calamity in Qingwu County, the bones all bore red patterns, as if cinnabar had seeped into the marrow. At the time, Vice Commander Gu Wenchuan investigated the matter in the capital. The case files are incomplete. Qingwu County. It had been a long time since I last heard that name. I was born there 10 years ago. In one night, all 476 residents of Qingwu County were wiped out. The authorities reported it as a landslide, but I remembered clearly, there had been no landslide that night. Only fog, red fog, and the sounds of people being dragged away while their throats tore from screaming. I survived not because I was lucky. When Gu Wenchuan dug me out from the pile of corpses, there was already an extra piece of bone embedded in my chest, a soul-reflecting bone. It saved me. It also bound me to the voices of the dead. I had never told Ji Wuju or Su Wenying. There were still informants inside the Demon Suppression Bureau. Gu Wenchuan had died too suddenly. Before his death, he sent me a message with only 4 words. The pill ledger is incomplete. Then he died in the main hall of the Demon Suppression Bureau. The imperial physician said the vessels of his heart had ruptured. I examined his corpse myself. There had also been a ring of red scorch marks around his wrist. Seeing that I had been silent for too long, Su Wenying asked softly, Sir, do you know Qingwu County? I closed the old scroll. I have heard of it. Ji Wuju said, if this red pattern appeared 10 years ago, then the fox demon and the Qin family's well must be connected. Not must be, I said. They definitely are. Su Wenying turned the torn pages and showed me another place. This page was ripped out. Chief Gi must have found something back then, but the file was removed. I did not respond. The half-ledger of demon cores that had been taken from those files was hidden behind the bricks in my quarters. Gu Wenchuan left it for me, but I still could not take it out. If I produced it now, whoever was recording those accounts would only hide deeper. I asked Su Wenying, has anything else in the capital recently borne cinnabar red patterns? Su Wenying thought for a moment. The longevity pill, from Xuandu Temple. Ji Wuju slammed the table. That's it. Lately, all those old men in the capital have been taking it. They say 1 pill gets a man out of bed, 2 pills let him take a concubine, and 3 pills give him another 20 years. I looked at him. He immediately changed his tone. I heard it from someone else. I asked, who verified? The longevity pill, the Imperial Hospital, and the list of those who took it. Sealed. Ji Wuji's expression darkened. The Imperial Hospital says, it concerns the bodies of nobles and officials, so it is inconvenient to disclose. I smiled. Inconvenient to disclose. Those 4 words usually meant it could not survive the light of day. Before dawn. The next day, a woman knelt outside the Demon Suppression Bureau. Her hair was disheveled, her clothes stained with mud and rainwater, and she clutched a small cloth tiger in her arms. The gatekeeper could not drive her away. When Ji Wuju brought her in, she knelt on the ground. Blood already covered her forehead from kowtowing. Sir, please find my son. I had someone help her up. She refused. My son's name is Ahuai. He is 7. The day before yesterday, he went to South Street to buy sugar figurines and never came back. Someone said they saw him chasing the medicine cart from Xuandu Temple. The medicine cart from Xuandu Temple. I asked, why was he chasing the cart? The woman sobbed so hard, she could barely breathe. The cart had a red lantern hanging from it, and bells were ringing. He said the sound was pretty. He also said there was a little brother on the cart waving at him. My fingers paused. What kind of little brother? I don't know. He did not explain clearly. He only said the child had a pale face and red eyes. Ji Wuju's expression turned grim. Su Wenying lowered her voice. Sir, has the capital prefecture taken the case? The woman shook her head. The capital prefecture said the medicine carts from the imperial preceptor's mansion deliver blessing pills to the noble household and would not kidnap children. They said my son might be blessed, chosen by an immortal. When she said this, she suddenly looked up, despair filling her eyes. Your Honor, I don't want him to be blessed. I just want him back. I had seen that look too many times. On the night Qingwu County died, many people looked at me the same way. They told me to run. They told me to live. Back then, I did not even understand why I was alive. I took the small cloth tiger from her. A crookedly embroidered character, Huai, had been stitched onto its belly. I asked, where was Huai last seen? At the corner of South Street, near the Xuandu Temple apothecary. I placed the cloth tiger into the evidence box. The Demon Suppression Bureau has taken the case. The woman rose. She probably had not expected it to be so simple. In the capital, it was harder for commoners to get the authorities to take a case that displeased the nobles than it was to climb to heaven. She tried to kowtow again. I stopped her. Enough. Save your strength. I paused, then said, wait for them to come back. Even I fell silent after saying it. I did not know whether they could still come back, but the case had to be investigated. That afternoon, rumors spread through the capital. They said that I, Shen Zhao, had taken office and immediately killed a spiritual beast, then set my sights on the imperial preceptor's medicine carts, intending to ruin Great Sheng's national fortune. They said the Demon Suppression Bureau reeked of bloodlust and would even frame Xuandu Temple over one missing child. They said Gu Wen was barely dead, and I was already desperate to claim merit. Sooner or later, I would bring demonic backlash upon the capital. Ji Wuju was so furious that he wanted to seize every rumor spreader. I stopped him. Grabbing a few mouths will not help. Then, what do we do? Find the hand behind the tongue. That night, Ji Wuju and I guarded the entrance of South Street Alley. Xuandu Temple's medicine carts set out every 3 days. They delivered longevity pills to each noble household. The carriage was modest, built of dark wood. Red lanterns hung from its 4 corners, and small bells dangled under the canopy. When the wind blew, the bells rang softly. The sound was pleasant and very cold. As the medicine cart turned into the alley, the horse pulling it suddenly stopped. The driver, dressed in a gray Taoist robe, looked back. Ji Wuji murmured, "Move now." I shook my head. "Wait." The driver got down from the cart, looked around, then took a talisman from his robe and pasted it on the carriage door. As soon as the talisman ignited, a faint sound stirred inside the carriage. It sounded as if someone was clawing at the wooden boards from within. Ji Wuji's expression changed. He was about to draw his blade when the night watchman's drum suddenly sounded from the street corner. The driver immediately climbed back onto the cart, and the medicine carriage moved on. We followed it across 2 streets. It stopped at the back door of the Imperial Hospital. Someone was already waiting there. Several hospital servants unloaded wooden crates from the cart and replaced them with empty ones. No one spoke the entire time. I saw a trace of gray-white powder leaking from a crack in one of the crates. Only after they left did I step forward. Ji Wuju pried open an old discarded crate in the corner. It was empty. Only one extinguished red lantern remained inside. There was also a trace of gray-white powder. Ji Wuju prodded it with the tip of his blade. Bone ash. I did not answer, because the moment my fingers touched the red lantern, the demon-suppressing bell at my waist rang. Ding. Very softly. Ji Wuju immediately scanned the surroundings. "Sir, is there a demon?" I heard another voice. tiny, like a child, hiding at the bottom of a well, crying, until he had no strength left. Cold, the bottom of the well, red lanterns. Mother, my fingers tightened. The demon-suppressing bell rang again. The voice came in broken fragments. Immortal, said, Fortune, it hurts. Ji Wuju looked at me. Sir, he could not hear it. Only I could. That was not demonic energy. It was a remnant soul, a lingering fragment, violently extracted before it could disperse. The soul-reflecting bone in my chest began to burn, as if red-hot nails were being driven into my marrow. I swallowed the taste of blood rising in my throat, and put the red lantern away. Let's go. Ji Wuju steadied me. Sir, you don't look well. I'm fine. Fine. Your lips are white as paper. I glanced at him. You talk too much. He shut his mouth. By the time we returned to the Demon Suppression Bureau, the sky was beginning to lighten. Su Wenying examined the gray-white powder. Her hand stayed still for a long time. It is bone powder. Ji Wuju cursed under his breath. Su Wenying's voice tightened. Children's bone ash. The room fell silent. I stared at the red lantern. Ahuai had said it was at the bottom of a well. The fox demon's wrist bone carried cinnabar markings. The Qin family's ancestral well was tied with red strings from Xuandu Temple. If I still could not connect these things into one thread, then I should hand the position of chief to Shi Huayong's dog. I stood. Ji Wuju asked, Where are we going? The Duke of Angguo's residence. Didn't His Majesty give us 3 days before we could move against noble households? I picked up the demon-slaying blade. He gave 3 days. I looked toward the door. Today is the 3rd day. This time, I did not stand at the gate and reason with Qin Song. 36 demon-slaying guards from the Demon Suppression Bureau sealed the front and back gates of the Duke of Angguo's mansion. When Qin Song rushed out with his clothes, hastily wrapped around him, his face was livid. Shen Zhao, how dare you? I threw 3 examination reports in front of him. The fox demon's wrist bone, the moss from the well, and the bone powder from the medicine cart. The same red vein demonic residue appears in all 3. Duke, Qin, you have 2 choices. I looked at him. First, step aside. Second, I detain you for obstructing the Demon Suppression Bureau's investigation. Qin Song laughed in furious disbelief. My ancestors fought beside the founding emperor to conquer this realm. How dare you put me in chains? I looked at him. If your ancestors knew their descendant was feeding servants into a well, they might crawl out of their graves to chain you themselves. The Qing clan relatives erupted in anger. The old madam began wailing again. The women began shrieking again. Several young noblemen drew their swords. Ji Wuju loved moments like this. He kicked the leading nobleman to the ground and pressed the back of his blade against the man's neck. The Demon Suppression Bureau is handling a case. Anyone who draws a weapon will be treated as an accomplice of demons. The courtyard immediately grew much quieter. I walked to the ancestral well in the back courtyard. The red rope around the mouth of the well was darker than the day before, as if it had been soaked in blood. The moment Su Wenying removed the rope, her expression changed. There is a talisman bone wrapped inside it. I said, Go down. Ji Wuju took the lead. Soon his voice rose from the bottom of the well. Sir, his tone was heavy. I knew we had found something. 1 body, then 2, then 3. Beneath the mud layer at the bottom of the well, more than a dozen skeletons were unearthed. Some belonged to adults, some belonged to children. Among them was a small torn garment. The cloth had nearly rotted away, but, on one sleeve, a crooked little tiger was still stitched into the fabric. I closed my eyes. It was not Ahuai's cloth tiger, but it had belonged to someone's child. Qin Song stood beside the well, the color draining from his face bit by bit. I knew nothing about this. He spoke quickly. It must have been some servant in the mansion who committed evil behind my back. I looked into the bottom of the well. The spirit offering array had been scratched away. Only a few faint traces remained. Someone had come here before me. No more than 6 people knew about this operation. Yet the news had leaked. I turned and looked at Qin Song. The red mark on his wrist was deeper than yesterday. The Duke truly knows nothing. Of course, I know nothing. Then we will first take the well keeper and the steward of the 3rd estate back to the Demon Suppression Bureau to clarify matters. Qin Song roared. You dare lay hands on my Qin family? I already have. When Ji Wuju escorted the prisoners out, the Qin family no longer dared to stop him, because the white bones from the bottom of the well lay arranged across the courtyard. Moonlight shone on them. The crying stopped. So did the pleas. I suddenly found it ironic. When these people pleaded for demons, each one was more merciful than the last. When human bones lay before them, none of them dared to look. After news of the Duke of Angguo's blessing, case spread, the capital was quiet for 1 day. Then, it exploded. Not because the commoners were furious, because the nobles were enraged. Shi Huayong submitted a memorial accusing me of entering a meritorious official's residence without approval from the 3 courts and defiling the dignity of the state. Qin Song submitted a memorial claiming the Demon Suppression Bureau had framed him, digging up a few unidentified skeletons to ruin the Qin family's century-old reputation. He Sen, director of the Imperial Hospital, joined in, as well. He accused me of breaking into the back gate of the Imperial Hospital, disrupting the transport of medicinal herbs, and slandering Xuandu Temple's longevity pill. I looked at the copied memorials and nearly laughed. They were anxious. So anxious they had abandoned all pretense of dignity. The entrance of the Demon Suppression Bureau was soon surrounded by disciples from Xuandu Temple, a group of people dressed in mourning white raised cloth banners that read justice for spiritual beasts and protect the capital. Imperial Preceptor. They chanted in practiced unison. Shen Zhao, kills without restraint. The Demon Suppression Bureau must atone. A blessing demon guards the home. Killing it brings disaster. After listening for a while, Ji Wuju asked me, "Sir, can we fight?" "No." He looked disappointed. I added, "Drag in the one shouting the loudest." He immediately brightened. Before long, the man leading the chants was pulled into the Demon Suppression Bureau. He confessed as soon as the interrogation began. 30 copper coins per person. Lunch, not included. The money came from the outer courtyard accounting office of Xuandu Temple. Ji Wuju brought me the confession. "Sir, is this enough to raid Xuandu Temple?" "Not enough." "Then, what is it good for?" "Enough to let them know that we know." Ji Wuju was not satisfied. He came from the Northern Bureau. He was used to drawing his blade and striking without hesitation. I used to be the same. Later, Gu Wenchuan taught me that in the capital, when you cut someone down, you cannot aim straight for the neck. First, you must cut off the hand, hidden behind their back. That afternoon, Emperor Sheng summoned me to the palace. In the imperial study, Shi, Huayong, Qin Song, and He Sen were all present. Pei Xuanheng was there too. Emperor Sheng's expression was unpleasant. More than a dozen memorials impeaching me lay on the table. "Shen Zhao, I permit you to continue investigating the bones found at the bottom of the Duke of Anguo's well. But before the longevity ceremony, you are not to search any noble mansion without authorization." I looked up. "Your Majesty, demons will not wait until after the longevity ceremony to devour people." Shi Huayong immediately said, "Chief Shen, are you implying His Majesty disregards the lives of his people?" I glanced at him. "Minister Shi, do not be so eager to plead guilty on His Majesty's behalf." His face paled. Emperor Sheng pressed his fingers to his brow. "Ina," Pei Xuanheng spoke gently. "I understand Chief Shen's eagerness to investigate. However, rumors are already spreading through the capital. If we stir up more trouble, the people may become unsettled. The longevity ceremony is a national rite. After it concludes, there will still be time to investigate." I looked at him. "Does the Imperial Preceptor fear my investigation as well?" He smiled. "This humble priest merely fears Chief Shen is walking too quickly and cannot see the road beneath his feet." I nodded. "Then the Imperial Preceptor should also slow down." I met his gaze. "Lest you step on bones." The Imperial study fell silent again. Emperor Sheng stared at me for a long time. At last, he said, "Before the longevity ceremony, the Demon Suppression Bureau shall close its doors for reorganization. Without my personal decree, no one is to act rashly." I accepted the decree. On the way out of the palace, Ji Wuju followed behind me, his face so dark that he looked ready to choke. "Sir, are we really letting this pass?" I said. "What else should we do? Behead the Imperial Preceptor in the Imperial study?" Ji Wuju considered it seriously. "That is not entirely impossible." I looked at him. He shut his mouth. I looked at the sky beyond the palace gates. The longevity ceremony, the disciples of Xuandu Temple, the Imperial Hospital's medical records, the medicine cart with its red lanterns, all those threads led to the same place. Pei Xuanheng wanted me to wait until after the longevity ceremony. That meant something had to happen during the ceremony itself. The old well-keeper died in the Demon Suppression Bureau's prison. When he died, cinnabar flowed from all 7 orifices. The 2 demon-slaying guards on duty swore they had heard nothing during the night. The prison seal had not been broken from the outside. After Su Wenyi examined it, her expression grew grave. The seal was opened from within. Ji Wuju was furious. "There is a mole in the bureau." I stared at the cinnabar residue at the corner of the corpse's mouth. Perhaps it was not opened by a living person. Ji Wuju froze. "What does that mean?" I did not explain. Those who consumed certain demonic elixirs did not have souls that scattered after death. Instead, the elixir contract dragged their souls into completing one final task, opening a seal, crushing the cinnabar hidden beneath their own tongue. The well-keeper's confession was only half recorded. He admitted there had been a soul-supplying array at the bottom of the Qin family's ancestral well. He admitted that every year, 2 servants with thin fates were sent down the well, but he had not yet said who set up the array. Then, he died. Worse still, Ahuai's mother died too. She died on her way home. There were no signs of struggle in the alley. Only half a torn piece of red lantern paper was clutched in her hand. When Ji Wuju brought me the news, I was polishing my demon-slaying blade. My hand stopped halfway through the motion. Where is the body? At the morgue. Who found her? A neighbor. They said she was still holding that little cloth tiger. I said nothing. The soul-reflecting bone in my chest burned faintly. The pain was too familiar. 10 years ago, when the people of Qingwu County died, I felt the same pain, as if all the voices of the dead were crammed into my bones, asking me why I was alive. Ji Wuju spoke carefully. Sir, I put down the blade. Inspect all entry and exit records for the Demon Suppression Bureau. Yes, do not alert anyone. Ji Wuju nodded. He walked to the door, then paused and looked back. Sir, did you already know there would be deaths? He regretted it as soon as he said it. I looked up. I did not know. I wiped the blade clean. I only knew that if they can protect demons, killing a few people is not difficult for them. That night, I went to the Demon Suppression Bureau's old vault. No one had properly cleaned it for years. Gu Wenchuan had liked to spend time there when he was alive. He once said old cases never vanished on their own. They simply waited for someone to turn their pages again. I moved aside the loose blue brick beneath the third row of shelves. Inside was an iron casket. The casket held half a ledger of demon cores, half of the Demon Suppression Bureau's ancestral seal, and a paper written in blood. Gu Wenchuan's handwriting was ugly. He used to say my writing looked like dog scratches, but his was not much better. There was only one sentence on the blood-stained paper. The soul mirror must not be opened lightly. To open, it is to trade lifespan for sound. I stared at it for a long time. Then, I burned the paper. Firelight flickered across the half-ancestral seal. At the broken edge of the seal, there was a familiar red-black mark. Before his death, Gu Wenchuan had uncovered the Imperial Preceptor's residence, but he had not managed to finish the full account. I was still missing the final half page, the list of elixir recipients, the location of the alchemy chamber, and what Pei Xuanheng truly planned to do at the longevity ceremony. The next day, I submitted a memorial admitting fault. The wording was extremely respectful. It stated that I had only just taken charge of the Demon Suppression Bureau, that I had been too hasty in my investigation, and that I had disturbed the nobles of the capital. I requested that the Bureau close its doors for reorganization and await His Majesty's judgment after the longevity ceremony. Ji Wuju stared at the memorial, his eyes nearly popping out. Sir, did you write this? Yes. Have you been possessed by a demon? I looked at him. He shut up, though he still looked unconvinced. Su Wenying remained quiet. She asked, Sir, you want them to lower their guard. Have you recorded everyone who impeached me? She nodded. The Ministry of Rites, the Court of Imperial Sacrifices, the Duke of Anguo's household, the Imperial Hospital, 6 noble families, and 13 civil officials. Investigate the medical records in their households. Su Wenying understood. Those who took the elixir. Correct. I turned to Ji Wuju. You will leave the capital tomorrow. He panicked. Sir, only on the surface. He froze. I said, take 6 men in plain clothes and follow Xuandu Temple's real medicine route. Do not stop at the Imperial Hospital. Track where the carts go before they enter the city. Ji Wuju's eyes lit up. Understood. No, you do not understand. I looked at him. Do not be stubborn. Come back alive. He grinned. Don't worry, sir. This subordinate's life is hard as iron. After nightfall, someone came to see me. Bai Yansheng, a young Taoist priest from Xuandu Temple. He wore a blue-green Taoist robe and had delicate features. He was less ethereal than Pei Xuanheng, but far more human. He stood outside the Demon Suppression Bureau and said he wished to meet me alone. I let him in. Bai Yansheng's gaze flickered when he saw the demon-slaying blade on my table. Chief Shen, my master ordered me to deliver a message. Speak. Before the longevity ceremony, it would be unwise for the capital to see more bloodshed. If Chief Shen is willing to stop, the Imperial Preceptor's residence can plead with His Majesty for leniency toward the Demon Suppression Bureau. I laughed. The Imperial Preceptor's residence will plead for the Demon Suppression Bureau. He said nothing. You people have been very fond of pleading for others lately. I said, you pleaded for the fox demon. You pleaded for the blessing. Well, now you are pleading for me. I leaned forward. Who will you plead for next? The children burned into ash. Bai Yansheng's face paled. Chief Shen, watch your words. I looked at him. Are they crying loudly inside the soul lamps? He suddenly raised his head. In that instant, I was certain he knew about the soul lamps. He just did not know how much I knew. Bai Yansheng's voice lowered. Some soul lamps are not yours to extinguish. I leaned back in my chair. So, are you here to persuade me, or to threaten me? Both, Taoist Bai. Are you afraid? His lips pressed together. I fear Chief Shen will walk down the wrong path. I shook my head. That is not what you fear. I looked directly at him. You are afraid that one day, the things inside those soul lamps will call out your name. The last trace of color left Bai Yansheng's face. He said nothing more. He turned and left. I watched his retreating figure. The fish had taken the bait. Just a little more. The night Su Wenying entered the abandoned storeroom of the Imperial Hospital. Rain fell over the capital. Her father had once been a minor official there. He died young, but left behind a few old connections. On ordinary days, those connections were not worth much. When lives were at stake, they became useful. She dragged out half a chest of burned medical records from the discarded archive room. By the time she returned, she had been stabbed twice. If the Demon Suppression Bureau's men had not found her in time, she would have died in the alley behind the Imperial Hospital. When I arrived, she was still conscious. In her hand, she clutched a charred booklet. "Sir," her voice was very soft, "the pill is not medicine." I took the booklet. More than a dozen names were recorded inside. Shi Huayong's youngest son, Qin Song. Notes personally written by Hesan, the minister of the Court of Imperial Sacrifices. Several imperial censors, who regularly accused me in court of excessive killing. Behind every name was a pulse notation. One day after taking the pill, cold lines enter the wrist. After 3 pills, complexion rejuvenates, but subject fears light at night. After 7 pills, subject hears children crying in dreams. Continue taking to suppress. The final page had mostly burned away. Only half a sentence remained. If the backlash is to be completely suppressed, during the longevity rite, use the nation's fortune. Nothing remained after that. I stared at the half sentence, and my heart sank little by little. Pei Xuanheng was not simply prolonging the lives of the powerful. He intended to use the longevity ceremony to fully bind everyone who had taken the pills. More likely, he intended to bind the emperor as well. 2 days after Ji Wuju pretended to leave the capital, he sent news back. Xuandu Temple's medicine carts first stopped at an abandoned residence in the western part of the city before going to the Imperial Hospital. Beneath that abandoned residence was a hidden passage. It led to the alchemy chamber of Xuandu Temple. Ji Wuju had captured a medicine cart steward. At first, the steward was stubborn. Then Ji Wuju found a child's hair tie hidden inside his lapel. The man broke. He claimed he was only responsible for transporting the lanterns. He said he did not know what was inside them. Each time a lantern was sent to the alchemy chamber, he said, it became a little lighter, softer, softer. A person's soul was extracted. And to him, the lamp had simply become softer. I had Su Wenying carried away for treatment. Just before she lost consciousness, she grabbed my sleeve. "Sir, Chief Gu's secret memorial. There are fragments hidden in the medical records." I opened the charred booklet she had brought back. There was indeed a partially burned piece of yellowed paper tucked into the lining. It bore Gu Wenchuan's handwriting. "What Xuandu Temple refines is not immortality, but a demonic pact for borrowed life. Those who consume it gain benefits at first, but later become slaves to the pact." Slaves to the pact. I closed my eyes. No wonder those powerful officials were so eager to protect the demon. It was not kindness. They feared the red markings on their bodies would be exposed. They feared their dream of immortality would be shattered, and perhaps most frightening of all, they feared being forced to admit that every extra day they lived had been built on someone else's life. On the eve of the longevity ceremony, a demonic calamity struck the capital. Several dozen low-level demon beasts suddenly burst out of the eastern market. More than a dozen commoners were injured. After the beasts were slain, a demon suppression bureau sealing charm was found inside one of their bodies. When the news reached the bureau, I was reviewing the half-ledger Gu Wenchuan had left behind. Ji Wuju had just returned, covered in road dust. "Sir, this is a frame-up." I looked at the talisman. Its pattern closely resembled the Demon Suppression Bureau's sealing charms, but one stroke was missing at the base. 10 years after Qingwu County, the Demon Suppression Bureau sealing talismans had once been counterfeited. After that, Gu Wenchuan altered the final stroke. The old talismans lacked that stroke. The new ones had one extra fold. Xuandu Temple had imitated the old version. I put the talisman away. Perfect timing. Ji Wuju did not understand. Soon, someone arrived from the palace. I was escorted inside to face questioning. The imperial guards around me were tense. They probably thought I would resist. I did not. I was quite cooperative. In the imperial study, officials knelt across the floor. Shi Huayong lamented in deep sorrow, saying the Demon Suppression Bureau had been too violent in its killings and now suffered the backlash of demonic aura. Qin Song claimed I had framed the Duke of Angguo's household, and now demonic disasters had indeed erupted everywhere. He then argued that the longevity pill could have stabilized the vital energy of the capital, but, because I slandered it, the balance between heaven and man had been disturbed. The minister of the Court of Imperial Sacrifices was even more direct. "Your Majesty, I request that the Demon Suppression Bureau's sole authority to execute demons be revoked, and that all demon cases in the capital be transferred to the Imperial Preceptor's office." Pei Xuanheng stood nearby, not showing the slightest triumph. His face remained compassionate and sorrowful. "I am willing to bear this heavy burden in place of the Demon Suppression Bureau." I found amusing. Bear the burden. He wanted to take the Demon Suppression Bureau's blade. Emperor Sheng looked at me. "Shen Zhao, do you have anything to say?" I raised the demon sealing talisman in my hand. "The talisman is fake." Shi Huayong sneered. "Chief Shen would naturally claim it is fake." I nodded. "Minister Shi, you seem very anxious. Are you afraid it is real, or afraid it is fake?" He was furious. You, Emperor, Sheng said. Enough. Pei Xuanheng sighed softly. Chief Shen, why continue arguing at this point? Tomorrow, during the longevity ceremony, I will cleanse the capital of demonic aura. If you are willing to confess your wrongs, His Majesty is merciful and may yet spare your life. I looked at him. Your Excellency is so eager for me to admit wrongdoing. Are you afraid I will attend the longevity ceremony tomorrow? Pei Xuanheng finally cast me a glance. It was faint, as if he were looking at a dead man. Emperor Sheng said in a low voice, Shen Zhao, before the longevity ceremony, you are to be temporarily detained in the palace side hall. Tomorrow, you will face questioning before the court. As the imperial guards escorted me out, Ji Wuju was stopped outside the palace gates. At the doorway, I paused and looked back. Emperor Sheng was also watching me. There was doubt in his eyes, and something like waiting. The emperor was not a fool. He merely craved stability. Many disasters in this world begin with that craving. In the dead of night, Bai Yancheng came to the side hall to see me. He came in secret. Rain dampened his sleeves, and his face was even paler than the last time. The guards at the door had been transferred away for a moment. It seemed he had connections inside the palace too. He placed a copper-colored key seal on the table, the key seal to Xuandu Temple's alchemy chamber. I looked at him, not afraid of the soul lamps calling your name anymore. His fingers trembled. Last night, there was a child in one of the soul lamps. He kept crying for his mother. I said nothing. Bai Yancheng lowered his voice. I thought the soul lamps contained only demon souls. My master said demon souls were stubborn and had to be purified by flame before they could be used in pills. And then I heard a human voice. How many lanterns have you transported? Bai Yancheng closed his eyes. I do not know. Not knowing is the most convenient excuse. His face grew even paler. I know I am guilty, but tomorrow, at the longevity ceremony, my master will present the longevity golden pill. Everyone who has ever taken the longevity pill will complete their final attunement inside the hall. If His Majesty also takes the golden pill, the national fortune will suppress the backlash of the pill contract. After that, no one will ever be able to investigate. I picked up the key seal. What is inside the alchemy chamber? The complete elixir registry, the master ledger of soul lamps, and half an ancestral seal imprint left by Chief Gi before his death. I looked at him. Bai Yancheng said, Chief Gukyu once broke into the alchemy chamber, but he could not take away the complete evidence. I tucked the key seal into my sleeve. Why not hand this directly to His Majesty? He smiled bitterly. His Majesty may not believe me. Besides, there are people inside the palace who have taken the pills too. That was the truth. Before leaving, Bai Yancheng suddenly asked, Chief Shen, can you truly make the people inside the soul lamps speak? I can. A flicker of hope appeared in his eyes. Then, I added, but there is a price. What price? I looked at the rain streaking down outside the window. The lifespan of the living. Bai Yancheng froze. I offered no further explanation. Gu Wenchuan said, the soul mirror must not be opened lightly. I had never used it lightly, not because I feared death, because once I began listening to those voices, I remembered every one of them. They visited me every night in my dreams. They asked why I had not yet sought justice for them. That was not easy to bear. On the day of the longevity ceremony, the sky was clear, so clear, it seemed impossible that anyone would die. 3 tiers of altar platforms had been erected inside the palace. Taoist priests from Xuandu Temple stood on both sides. Incense, smoke rose around them, shrouding the Hall of Longevity until it truly looked like a celestial realm. Court officials, nobles, and members of the imperial clan were all present. Those who had pleaded for the demon in recent days were especially punctual. Shi Huayan stood at the front of the civil officials, his expression solemn. Qin Song stood among the nobles, wrist guards strapped tightly around his arms. He Sen lowered his head, looking like a harmless old physician. When Pei Xuanheng ascended the platform, the entire hall fell silent. He held a jade casket in his hands. Inside lay a golden elixir. As the fragrance of the pill spread, many old ministers revealed open longing on their faces. As I was escorted in by imperial guards, I heard people muttering curses. Cruel official. The Demon Suppression Bureau brought chaos to the capital. After today, let's see how arrogant he remains. Pei Xuanheng looked at Emperor Sheng. Your Majesty, the recent outbreaks of demonic disaster are due to an imbalance of killing intent. The old ways of the Demon Suppression Bureau place too much emphasis on killing and too little on transformation. They no longer suit Great Sheng. This humble priest offers the longevity golden pill to help your Majesty stabilize the nation's fortune and suppress demonic energy. Emperor Sheng did not take the pill. He looked at me. Shen Zhao. I stepped forward. The blades of the Imperial Guard still pressed against my sides. Your servant is here. You said yesterday that the talisman was fake. Today, before the entire court, give us an explanation. Pei Xuanheng said gently, Your Majesty, today is the longevity ceremony. It may be unwise to hear another blood-soaked case. I laughed. What the Imperial Preceptor says is right. I looked around the hall. Today is the longevity ceremony, so this is the perfect time to ask. Are you all truly here to celebrate His Majesty's birthday? Or are you trying to use His Majesty's national fortune to suppress the demonic contracts in your own bodies? The hall erupted. Shi Huayong immediately barked. Shen Zhao, have you lost your mind? Qin Song roared as well. Blasphemous nonsense. He Sen knelt and said, Your Majesty, this man's heart has been corrupted by demonic aura. He speaks madness. You must not listen to him. I watched them. You protect demons so desperately. Is it out of kindness? Or because all of you swallowed pills from the same furnace? For a moment, the hall went silent. Then it became even more chaotic. Some people instinctively covered their wrists. Some looked down at their sleeves. Some angrily accused me of slandering the loyal and upright. The warmth on Pei Xuanheng's face finally faded. Chief Shen, such accusations require evidence. I nodded. Naturally, I raised my hand. The sound of iron chains came from outside the hall. Ji Wuju led in a medicine workshop steward, escorted by men from the Demon Suppression Bureau. The man was still wearing the gray robe of Xuandu Temple's outer courtyard. Behind them, several demon-slaying guards carried 4 iron chests. The first chest held Finiang's wrist bones and human skin. The second held the fragmented bones and red cords, unearthed from the Duke of Angwo's well. The third held the discarded medical records from the Imperial Hospital. The fourth held the demon sealing talisman from the so-called demonic calamity at the Eastern Market. Su Wenying had arrived as well. Her face was pale and her shoulder was still wrapped in bandages, but she stood straight. I glanced at her. She nodded. I opened the first iron chest. Fox demon Finiang wore human skin and devoured human hearts. Minister of Rights Shi Huayong pleaded for her, saying demons have feelings too. Shi Huayong said, angrily, this official merely cherished talent. Even demons can have feelings. I raised the fox demon's wrist bone. The red markings on it were clearly visible under the sunlight. You cherished talent so much that you feared the elixir mark on her bones would be exposed after death. Shi Huayong's face stiffened. I opened the second chest. The Duke of Angwo's ancestral well contained 17 skeletons, remnants of a soul supply array, and a red cord from Xuandu Temple at the mouth of the well. Qin Song said furiously, that heretical formation was set up by servants acting on their own. I looked at his wrist. Lord Duke's servants were certainly devoted. They even remembered to set up a sinister array to extend your life. Qin Song instinctively hid his hands inside his sleeves. I opened the third chest. Su Wenying stepped forward. The Imperial Hospital's discarded pulse records show 31 pill takers in total. Their pulse readings all contain inhuman cold lines. Among them, 27 jointly impeached the Demon Suppression Bureau. He Sen's face turned deathly pale. Forgery. It is all forgery. Su Wenying looked at him. Director He, every medical record in this ledger bears your private annotations. When you write the character for chill with your right hand, you habitually curl the final stroke. Shall I demonstrate it before the court? He Sen's lips trembled. I opened the fourth chest. The sealing talisman found during the Eastern Market demonic calamity is missing a stroke at its base. The Demon Suppression Bureau changed its talisman patterns 10 years ago. This is a counterfeit made from the old version. Pei Xuanheng spoke calmly. Even so, this only proves that someone used the pills to commit evil, and someone forged talismans to frame others. On what grounds does Chief Shen claim the Imperial Preceptor's residents refine souls? He was very steady, so steady that it seemed he had expected me to present all this evidence. I understood. These pieces of evidence were enough to strike Shi Huayong, enough to strike Qin Song, enough to strike He Sen, but not enough to cut down the Imperial Preceptor's residence in one stroke. The officials regained their confidence. Indeed, we cannot falsely accuse the Imperial Preceptor based on this alone. Xuandu Temple has aided the world for years. How can we allow such slander? Shen Zhao, what exactly is your motive? Pei Xuanheng looked at me. Chief Shen, your killing intent is too heavy. That is why you see demons everywhere. He paused. Did you know that you yourself carry demonic aura? The hall fell silent again. Ji Wuji's expression changed. Su Wenying also looked at me. Pei Xuanheng finally revealed a hint of sharpness. You can hear remnant souls, can you not? Someone cried out. Hear remnant souls? Is that not the ability of an evil spirit? Pei Xuanheng stepped closer. Wengu Wenchuan brought you back from Qingwu County. He did not tell the court that you were the only surviving anomaly of that demonic disaster. He stared at me. You have a demon bone inside your chest. With that demon bone, you hear souls. With that demon bone, you solve cases. Yet you turn around and accuse me of refining demonic pills. He looked toward Emperor Sheng. Your Majesty, Shen Zhao possesses a demon bone and is no longer purely human. For such a person to control the Demon Suppression Bureau, that is the true disaster. All eyes in the hall fell upon me. Disgust, fear, suspicion. The veins in Ji Wuju's hand bulged as he gripped his blade. But, I smiled. Pei Xuanheng frowned. I understood. The Imperial Preceptor had finally reached the point he truly wanted. I took out half of the Demon Suppression Bureau's ancestral seal. The moment Pei Xuanheng saw it, his expression finally changed. It was the first time he truly lost composure. I placed the ancestral seal in my palm. There is indeed a soul, reflecting bone inside me. Uproar surged through the hall. I continued. It was not granted by a demon. It is a wound left in my chest 10 years ago, after the souls of 476 people in Qingwu County were refined. Emperor Sheng suddenly sat upright. Qingwu County. I looked at Pei Xuanheng. Back then, Gu Wenchuan discovered the alchemy furnace outside Xuandu Temple and brought me back to the capital. The case files were removed, the secret memorial was burned, and the demonic disaster in Qingwu County was rewritten as a mountain calamity. I survived not because I became a demon. I drew my short blade and sliced open my palm. I survived because the dead would not let me die. Blood dripped onto the ancestral seal. The demon-suppressing bell was carried into the hall. Its body had been dark and dull. After my blood touched the seal, the bell suddenly released a long cry. Clang. The moment the sound rang out, the incense smoke filling the hall scattered. Pei Xuanheng shouted, "Stop him!" The Taoists of Xuandu Temple drew their swords at once. Ji Wuju had been waiting for exactly that. The demon-slaying guards of the Demon Suppression Bureau rushed in from outside the hall and clashed with the priests of Xuandu Temple. The Imperial Guards hesitated. Emperor Sheng spoke. "Anyone who dares touch Shen Zhao will be treated as a traitor." The Imperial Guards immediately turned their blades. Pei Xuanheng's face darkened. Like water, I pressed my blood against the ancestral seal. The soul-reflecting bone in my chest felt as if it were being pried open by force. Pain. Real pain. The pain was so intense that my vision went black. Then I heard the first voice. Mother. It was a Huai. Then came the second, the third, countless voices. Men, women, the old, the young. They had been packed inside the demon-suppressing bell, waiting too long in the dark. Now, someone had finally opened the door. At the bottom of the well, a red lantern. The alchemy chamber. Imperial Preceptor. It hurts. I do not want immortality. I want to go home. Everyone in the hall heard them. Not only me. The demon-suppressing bell hung in the center of the Hall of Longevity, its sound rippling outward layer by layer. Those who had taken the pills began screaming in pain. Shi Huayong was the first to clutch his wrist. Under his sleeve, red-black soul patterns crawled out like living worms. Dense red lines surfaced on Qin Song's neck. Black patterns appeared in He Sen's eyes. He collapsed to his knees, trembling all over. The minister of the Court of Imperial Sacrifices, several imperial censors, and a number of nobles all revealed markings. Those who had just cursed me for slandering loyal and virtuous officials now lowered their heads and hid their hands, as if they wished they could peel off their own skin. I looked at them. Did you not say demons have feelings too? Did you not claim the longevity pill was a blessing from heaven? Now that your so-called blessing has crawled out for everyone to see, why is no one speaking? Shi Huayong collapsed to the floor. I did not know. I did not know there were human souls in the elixir. I walked over to him. You did not know. When the fox demon ate the maidservants' hearts, you said she was deep feeling and pitiable. When your son took the pill and heard children crying in his dreams, you had He Sen prescribe a soul-suppressing elixir. When Ah Huai's mother knelt before the Demon Suppression Bureau, your men spread rumors in the streets, saying her son had been chosen by an immortal. I looked down at him. Minister Shi, there are so many things you do not know. Shi Huayong's face turned ashen. Qin Song suddenly pointed at Pei Xuanheng. It was the Imperial Preceptor. He was the one who said the Well of Fortune could prolong life. I only believed that demonic Taoist. Pei Xuanheng looked at him coldly. Idiot. Qin Song went mad with fear. The pill was yours. You said that, as long as I offered 2 worthless lives each year, the men of the Qin family would no longer die young. The entire hall fell into deathly silence. Some truths require evidence to uncover. Some truths will be spat out by accomplices themselves. He Sen also broke down. He crawled before the imperial throne. Your Majesty, spare me. I only regulated the pulses. I never refined the pills. The alchemy records are in Xuandu Temple's alchemy chamber, and the soul lamp ledgers are there too. I can testify to everything. Pei Xuanheng finally stopped pretending. A black talisman shot from his sleeve, flying straight toward my face. Ji Wuju blocked it with his blade, but was forced 3 steps back. Shen Zhao. I did not retreat, because inside the demon suppressing bell, Ah Huai's voice rang out again. Behind the red door, so many lanterns. Bai Yansheng emerged from the side of the hall, knelt, and raised the key seal to the alchemy chamber. Your Majesty, I can lead the way to the hidden alchemy chamber inside Xuandu Temple. Murderous intent flashed in Pei Xuanheng's eyes. He turned to leave, but the back door of the Hall of Longevity had already been sealed by the Demon Suppression Bureau. Ji Wuju wiped blood from the corner of his mouth and grinned fiercely. Imperial Preceptor, where do you think you are going? Pei Xuanheng raised his hand, and black patterns emerged from his palm. That was not a human cultivation technique. It was a demonic pact. He had already refined himself into the pill. I stepped forward, blade in hand. The pain from the soul, reflecting bone intensified, and darkness surged across my vision. Pei Xuanheng sneered. Shen Zhao, do you think you have won? The elixir has already taken root in half the court. Kill me, and they will not live either. I said, that is just as well. They can spend the rest of their lives atoning. His eyes were venomous. You will not save them. I looked at the nobles and officials covered in curse marks. Some begged for mercy. Some wept. Some said they had only taken one pill. Some said they were forced by the elders of their families. I listened and found it absurd. When commoners had their souls drained, no one asked whether they were willing. When maidservants had their hearts gouged out, no one asked whether it hurt. When Ahuai chased the medicine cart, no one told him it was not the carriage of immortals. Now that pain had reached these people, they begged me to save them. I said, I will save them. Hope had just begun to light in their eyes. Then, I continued, first, tell me clearly, word by word, how many batches of pills you took, how many lives you sacrificed, who supplied the pills, and who set up the formations. If you do not speak, let the pill contract devour you slowly. The crying in the hall grew even louder. Pei Xuanheng seized the moment and lunged forward. But the instant he moved, countless lingering souls inside the demon, suppressing bell released a piercing shriek together. The black patterns across his body churned violently under the shock. I swung my blade down. The demon-slaying blade split through his protective talisman light and bit into his shoulder bone. Pei Xuanheng fell to his knees and coughed up black blood. He stared at me, unwilling to yield. You used the soul, reflecting bone. How many years of your life do you still have left? I looked at him. Enough to watch you die. The alchemy chamber of Xuandu Temple was sealed on the day of the longevity ceremony. When the door to the hidden room opened, even the imperial guards vomited. There was no celestial aura inside, only rows upon rows of soul lamps. The wicks were thin and white, like human finger bones. A small wooden plaque hung beneath each lantern. Very few bore names. Most simply read, boy, girl, servant, disaster, victim, refugee. In their eyes, these people had not even deserved to leave behind a name. Behind the alchemy furnace lay the complete alchemy manual. Half of Gu Wenchuan's ancestral seal imprint was hidden there as well. He had indeed made it this far back then. Unfortunately, he had not made it out alive. The final pages of the alchemy ledger recorded Qingwu County. 476 souls were used to forge the first furnace of red vein pills. I stared at that line for a long time without moving. Ji Wuju stood behind me in silence. He was usually talkative. This silence did not suit him. Bai Yansheng knelt outside the alchemy chamber. Imperial guards stood on both sides of him. He offered no defense. He only asked me, can the soul lamps be extinguished? I said, yes. He lowered his head. That is good. Su Wenying organized the alchemy records despite her injuries. Her movements were slow, but steady. To save his own life, he then revealed the hiding places of all the abandoned pulse records from the Imperial Hospital over the years. Qin Song implicated every Qin family member connected to the soul supplying array. Shi Huayong revealed the Ministry of Rites' secret route for transporting blessed demons for Xuandu Temple. These nobles usually loved to speak of dignity and moral integrity, but when they truly stood before the executioner's block, each one became more eloquent than the last. Emperor Sheng issued an imperial decree. Xuandu Temple was sealed. Pei Xuanheng was stripped of his title as imperial preceptor. The Demon Suppression Bureau regained the authority to slay demons, investigate demon contracts, and seal demonic artifacts. All those involved in the elixir case would be tried separately for 4 crimes: supplying souls, consuming pills, harboring demons, and deceiving the sovereign. Shi Huayong was dismissed and imprisoned. Qin Song was stripped of his noble title. He Sen was thrown into the Demon Suppression Bureau's dungeon. Pei Xuanheng was chained beneath the demon execution platform, awaiting public execution. 3 days later, when the news spread, the people of the capital first did not dare believe it. Later, people came to the entrance of the Demon Suppression Bureau to burn paper offerings, not for the bureau, for the missing. Ahuai's mother did not live to see her son return. But inside the demon suppressing bell, Ahuai's lingering soul cried one final time for his mother. That dusk, I personally unsealed the bell. Countless broken souls scattered from its depths. The wind swept through the old locust tree in the bureau's backyard. The leaves rustled. It sounded like many people saying farewell. Ji Wuju turned his face away. I said, tears. He immediately replied, the wind is strong. I looked at the sky. Not a single leaf was moving. Yes, I said, the wind is strong. Gu Wenchuan's spirit tablet was returned to the main hall of the Demon Suppression Bureau. After his death, the court had never reached a final verdict on his legacy. Some said he died of age and weakness. Some said his cultivation suffered backlash. Others said he became obsessed with demon cases, grew overly suspicious, and drove himself to death. Now, the truth had been laid bare. He had not been overly suspicious. The capital had simply been too filthy. I lit 3 sticks of incense for him. As the smoke rose, I suddenly remembered the way he used to scold me. He said, "Shen Zhao, your blade is too fast, but your mind is too slow." He said, "Slaying demons is easy, cutting through the human heart is hard." He said, "If one day I die in an unexplained way, do not rush to avenge me. First, get the account straight." I had not liked hearing it back then. I thought the old man was merely long-winded. Only now did I understand that every word he said had been fished out of blood. Su Wenying was appointed archivist of the Demon Case Archives. Her first act was to refile the old case from Qingwu County 10 years ago. It was no longer called Mountain Calamity. It was renamed the Soul Refining Furnace Case outside Xuandu Temple. Ji Wuju was promoted to commander of the Northern Bureau. On the day of his promotion, he came to me full of excitement and said he could finally command others with proper authority. I asked, "Do you know how to read?" He was silent for a long time. "I can learn, then start by learning how to write case files." The smile vanished from his face. "Sir, perhaps you should just let me go slay demons." I ignored him. On the day Pi Xuanheng was punished, the sky was overcast. A crowd gathered beneath the demon execution platform. Unlike the day I took office, no one pleaded for the demon. This time, when Pi Xuanheng was brought up, he was still dressed in white. Only now, his robes were stained with blood. He looked at me and suddenly smiled. "Shen Zhao, do you think cutting me down will end the elixir calamity?" "I know it will not." He narrowed his eyes. "And yet you still cut me down." I looked at him. "A meal must be eaten bite by bite. A demon must be slain one at a time. And accounts must be settled piece by piece." Pei Xuanheng's smile faded. "You will die a worse death than Gu Wenchuan." I nodded. "Then let those who come after me set up a memorial tablet for me too." The blade fell. Black blood splashed across the demon execution platform. The demon-suppressing bell did not ring. A man like Pei Xuanheng had no soul left after death. Only a mass of corrupted demonic contract remained, crushed into ash by the ancestral seal. The demonic elixir case in the capital was settled over the next half-month. The execution platform was washed again and again, yet the smell of blood seemed to linger. Every day, people in prison wept and begged to see me. They said they were willing to confess. They said they had merely wanted to live longer. They said they too had been deceived by the imperial preceptor. I had Su Wenying record them one by one. Those who offered lives would be judged for offering lives. Those who consumed pills would be judged for consuming pills. Those who harbored demons would be judged for harboring demons. Not knowing did not equal innocence. But how much a person knew and how much a person had done still had to be distinguished. The Demon Suppression Bureau was not a den of monsters. It could not become another kind of den. Emperor Sheng summoned me to the palace and bestowed upon me the complete ancestral seal. When the missing half of the seal met the half kept in the bureau's vault, it released a soft sound, like a door shut for 10 years finally open. Emperor Sheng looked at me. "Shen Zhao, do you hate me?" I looked up. He asked, very calmly. So I answered, just as calmly, "I dare not." Emperor Sheng smiled faintly. "Dare not" means resentment. I did not reply. He looked toward the hall outside. Before his death, Gu Wenchuan submitted a secret memorial stating that the alchemy disaster in the capital involved far-reaching connections. I had read half of it before the memorial was lost in a fire. After that, the imperial preceptor claimed Gu Wenchuan had been driven mad by demon cases. He paused. "I believed half of it." I asked, "Did your majesty believe half of it? Or did your majesty wish to believe half of it?" He fell silent. Those words were heavy enough to convict me of great disrespect. But he did not. After a long while, he said, "From now on, the Demon Suppression Bureau may submit reports directly to the throne." I accepted the ancestral seal. Your servant accepts the decree. When I left the palace, the sky was growing dark. I paused beside the bronze mirror outside the palace gates. The person in the mirror still had the same face, only now, there was a strand of white at the temple, very faint. If one did not look carefully, one would not notice. But I knew. It was not from exhaustion. It was lifespan gnawed away by the soul-reflecting bone. Alarm flashed across Ji Wuju's face when he saw it. "Sir, your hair. You are seeing things." He opened his mouth as if to speak, but, in the end, he said nothing. When I returned to the Demon Suppression Bureau, Su Wenying was leading her people in sorting through new case files. Under the old locust tree in the backyard, several small lanterns left by the townsfolk flickered. Names were written on them. Ah Huai, Xiao Liu, Chunya, Shito, and many names I did not recognize. I stood there for a while. The lanterns swayed gently in the wind. There were no cries, no whispers of resentment, only quiet light remained. I thought I might finally sleep through the night, but just as I entered the main hall, a galloping horse came to a sudden halt outside the door. A messenger rolled down from the saddle, covered in dust. Chief Shen, urgent report from Jiangnan. I opened the letter. There were only a few lines on the paper. In 3 prefectures, south of the river, red-black elixir marks had appeared one after another. A demon wearing human skin had entered a government office. A wealthy merchant was offering a longevity, well for fortune. A Taoist temple was selling immortality, elixirs. At the end was one more sentence. Many children have gone missing. Ji Wuju cursed. After reading it, Su Wenying's face darkened as well. I folded the urgent report neatly and tucked it into my robe. Inside the main hall of the Demon Suppression Bureau, Gu Wenchuan's spirit tablet stood in silence, the ancestral seal pressed down on the desk. The demon-slaying blade glinted coldly beneath the lamplight. I touched the white strand at my temple. The pain was still there. But, while a man lives, he must do the work of the living. Ji Wuju asked, "Sir, what do we do?" I lifted my eyes and looked south. "Saddle the horses."